What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we are taking a look at this gorgeous piece from Custom Knife Factory. I am a little hesitant on pronouncing this name, so I'm just going to call it the UMMU. UMMU. I've heard it called UMA, but UMMU Dalawa 2. So the second variant of the original UMMU. Pretty cool knife, lots of detail, actually tremendous level of details. All over the place. Really cool knife. So I'm excited to sit down with you guys, talk about this gorgeous knife for the next little while here. I'll aim for about 15 minutes, but if it goes over in advance, I apologize. So that's what we got on the docket. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a coffee, beer, wine, whiskey, whatever you got, and we're going to enjoy it. So as a reminder, guys, check out my site, BladeZilla.ca, where a lot of the knives that are featured on this channel are available for sale in Canada. That's BladeZilla.ca, including this knife, which I added literally seconds ago, and that is actually this knife. Pretty cool. The giveaways usually in the Zerk, the custom stuff. So lots of CKFs, a bunch of Shiros, some TRMs, some Protex, all kinds of good stuff on BladeZilla.ca, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to look at this beautiful knife and to experience it, talk about it, and I guess hopefully enjoy the hobby together a little bit. So that's what we got going on, and I'm already noticing this thing is a fingerprint magnet on the top of this swedge up here. So hopefully I can kind of not touch it too much. But yeah, I'm already putting fingerprints on it. Okay, so where do we get started on this? Well, I guess, I believe it's an Alexi Connigan design from CKF. I don't know how it wouldn't be. I think the UMMU 1 was, so I'm assuming it's the same. We've kind of got some beautiful zirconia inlays around the hardware here, and it's kind of got that really cool Connigan offset style to the hardware. I do have, what are they called, those G10 variants of the UMMU still up on the site, and they had the same variant of hardware as well, which is just kind of a cool, I don't think it really matters too much in terms of taking the knife apart, if it's off center or not. It's just going to force you to be a little more delicate with it, which is kind of half the fun. Let's start with some measurements, do some weights. I can already tell I'm getting behind on this video, and I apologize in advance because I'm probably a few minutes in, and normally I should be doing this right away, so I apologize. Overall length, we are coming in at 8 5/8, 8 3/4, somewhere in that conversation. I'd say more 8 3/4 inch. Blade length, we're coming in at sharpened. It looks like 3 3/4. Cutting edge, maybe a little bit bigger to the middle of swage, 3 7/8 kind of thing. Handle length, 4 3/4. Looks like maybe a little bit more, somewhere in that conversation. As always, these are very technical measurements done at tolerances that are very high with a single eyeball looking through a tripod with zero alignment, so that should do all the talking you guys need to know. They're right around those measurements. Let's get a weight on this. If I'm guessing, it's got to be in the 5-ounce conversation. High 4s, 5.5, pretty close. Can I just not get a pat on the back for that? I said it was around 5 and 5. I'm only basically half an ounce off, which is actually a huge amount, so I shouldn't be really too pumped on that. But hey, it feels like a 5-ounce knife. It's got some weight to it, especially with the zirconia on there. Some of the features. So it's obviously a flipper, and if we look at that flipper and see how it is behind the pivot, so it's a bit of a slower release, I would say, but no, actually not really. No, it does not have a problem coming out. Smooth action on multi-row bearings, MRBS. Flip this guy around. We've got the texturing that kind of is on both sides, this kind of snaky roll, whatever you want to call it, earthworm dig pattern. Looks great, very functional, but at the same time just kind of adds that perfectly imperfect asymmetry to the knife that you know, Connigan's kind of becoming known for, is that's his style. So same pattern, really nice. The clip kind of goes in the middle of that as well. I don't believe there's anything under the clip. Nope, it's a machine clip as well. Both sides of the Zerkatai on this side do have the blanks of those hardware, so I don't know how these guys are put together. If we've got a two-piece that screws together, I'm assuming that's how it's done, but it is nice seeing the blanks on the back. I always prefer that personally. The clip appears to be attached internally, which, let's take that light and shine it inside here, or maybe I can just show it this way. Lots of detail on this one, guys. I'm telling you, this is a thinner knife than it appears in a lot of the pictures. A lot of this material, both sides of the frame, are actually very thin, surprisingly. And that was the first thing I noticed. So let's take a look on the inside, how that is attached. Yeah, pretty standard. That's an easy one to take on and off. Pretty simple. Looks really good inside, nice and clean. We've got some nice pin work as well, which I've always dug. Always gives me Sinkovich vibes anytime they start using these pins on the top here. I love that kind of stuff. We've got a backspacer as well that's integrated nicely as well, and you can see it's kind of countersunk down a little bit, so it's not level with the frame. It's kind of just sunk down just a hair. And then you also have, it looks to be a standoff, but it's actually your lanyard hole. So I can show that as well. It is separate from the backspacer, and nice little lanyard hole there. That's cool. Very functional. You know, if you wanted to pop those off and do something with it, add a little flair to it, I'm sure you could. And then the backspacer kind of continues, or I should say the additional backspacer kind of goes on the other end. So it's kind of like a bit of a hybrid between a backspacer and a standoff. Pretty cool. Perfectly dead center, which is kind of what CKF is known for now. They're getting good tolerances on all this stuff. Interesting metal lock bar insert, and they're utilizing kind of how they're doing that as the over travel stop on the frame, which is also really cool. About 25% lockup, pretty normal. The inside of the frame, as I mentioned, tons and tons and tons of milling and skeletonization on the inside of this. I am actually blown away by this. I did not expect this. I think this guy's like $500 US, 550, somewhere in that conversation table. And hopefully you can see that with the light. So big pockets on the lock bar side, and then on the show side, just tons of material taken out on the inside of this thing. I'm floored actually with how much they've removed. Come on camera, there we go. Big pockets of material taken out. Really dig it. And then the actual, I'm trying to think here how this lock bar is done. It's certainly interesting because you have the brake in it, so it's, is it a frame lock or is it kind of like an inset lock? I'd have to see how they're doing that. So that's obviously to attach that lock bar insert. You can see it just on the inside of the lock there. But that brake, interesting. It's just an interesting concept how that bend takes place. That's cool. That's really well done, actually. What do we have down here? Very smooth. Good detent. I'm just looking around the knife right now to see if there's any features or anything I'm missing. I believe I see something written on the inside of here. I actually can't see what it is or what it says, but there's something there. Maybe I'll just shine a light on it. Let's see, MRBS with a little triangle, looks like. Probably easier to see if you took it apart, which if you got this knife, I'm telling you, take it apart, open it up, because it's going to be gorgeous on the inside. Fit in hand, so I've got an extra large glove. And I've got lots of room on this. No issues with fit in my hand. I could have another finger and still no issues. Little bit of jimping on the top of the blade here, just enough that your finger definitely falls right onto it, has a nice little grip. The top of the blade is, it's a flat top with that little swage, but you could easily choke up all the way down it if you truly wanted to. And then as we get closer to the tip, you can see it expands to provide a little support to that blade, which is nice. The swage looks really great. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't mirror polish that, just with the last few knives they've done. And maybe they'll offer another variant of this knife with a mirrored edge, but I was kind of expecting that just based on what they've been doing lately. Certainly looks good. You've got a stonewash, a satin, and then looks like another stonewash up top. So I don't know if they call that, I thought they had a name for it, like a tri-color blade or something. But I think tricolor is if it's mirrored. But yeah, I guess two-tone blade. Looks great. Nice deep belly on it as well. Really usable. Really usable profile. Action-wise, let's try that one more time. I kind of got it stuck. Yeah, pretty standard CKF. Like, it's still pretty tight. So you need to break this one in. It's really smooth. And it should be numbered, usually on this side. There we go, M398 blade. I didn't even mention that. And then this one's number 186, so I'm guessing a 200 batch rod, 250, something like that. Which is still, in today's world, very low quantity of these offered. But M398, that's a very pleasant surprise. That's quickly becoming one of my favorite kind of steels. I really dig it. Very similar to S90V. Very hard steel. It was kind of, S90V was kind of pegged, same with M398, is to kind of be the next super steel, I'd say, a few years back. And then MagnaCut kind of derailed that. And I still don't know if MagnaCut to me is it doesn't have as much sex appeal, I guess, to me, as S90V. Is that weird to say? I just find M398 S90V very comparable, really. It's just such a cool material versus MagnaCut. I feel like everyone's jumping on the MagnaCut train lately, and it's basically on everything. And I have some friends who really use their stuff, and to them they still prefer M390 to MagnaCut, which is crazy to me because all the spec sheets on MagnaCut basically are saying, depending on the heat treat, it's supposed to be better. But they're like, well, M390 is just so easy to work on. It's reliable. It's good enough. It's a gold standard. Whereas MagnaCut's apparently supposed to become that. So, I don't know. M398, S90V, pretty cool. I like that. But I also, coming from the guy who loves just basic stuff, I love, LMAX is certainly just good for me. I love LMAX. So, some comparisons in the Shiro line. Let's go through a couple here. I'll start with my Neon, which is Chromax, which is basically LMAX. There's your Neon. Really good size comparison. So quite a bit bigger handle, obviously. We'll grab my Monkey Edge Quantum. This is a Quantum Frag, which is more comparable in size, I'd say, but actually surprisingly the handle profile looks a lot thinner, certainly at this angle. Lengthwise, very similar. A little more blade on the Quantum, I'd say, but size-wise, very similar. And once again, the material in the handle, I want to emphasize this. If we go Quantum on the right, just look at the stock thickness of those handles. It's thinner than you'd expect on the UMMU. Just keep that in mind. Just food for thought. And move this down. Okay, and what's next on the docket? We did the Quantum. Do we want to do a Hattie? Where's my Hattie? All right, I'm losing my mind here, guys. Slowly. Okay. Oh, the knife's backwards. Sorry about that. Let's go Hattie. So that's a carbon front scaled F95 for reference. We'll do an Astrum, which will make this look very thick and bulky. There's your Astrum, which I'm still firm believer of Team Big Neon. I think they're great knives. We'll do the RJ Overkill full tie, which actually, you know what, that's a very comparable knife. Just look how thick the handles are. This is a big knife, guys. Keep that in mind. It's a big knife. And then we'll finalize things here with the Big Daddy, the Laksa, Russian Laksa. Probably the coolest knife ever made in the history of the world. I joke, but it's one of my favorites. all-time Shiro's ever built. First integral, and then can we just listen to that one more time? Oh, click! There's your Magna Cut strip, fat strip from Shiro as well, which not a fair size comparison, but just a cool knife comparison. I think they're cool, and the sound these things make, just nuts. Really cool knife. I did an hour-long video on this exact knife here. Geez, a couple weeks, a month ago, 2 months ago, I can't remember, and basically said that's the coolest knife ever as well. All my knives are the coolest knives ever. And then I'll grab, let's go a Para 2, just to show size. Everyone knows I use this thing to open boxes. This is a Blurple with S110, I think, on it. Yeah, S110 blade. But for size, just in case people are wondering, it's a super common one. And we can do as well a large Sebenza, because everyone seems to know the large Sebenza sizing. So this knife's a little bigger than a large Sebenza, both in the handle ergonomics, right? Taller handle, but thickness-wise, stock-wise, just a little thinner on the UMMU. Pretty cool. There you go. So there's a handful of knives to kind of compare it with. I always like doing those, just because, you know, everyone has a different taste on a lot of these, and it's always good to have a fair comparison. Now, when they did launch these, they did a carbon version, which I actually have beside me as well. I haven't even looked at it. This will be, get this listed on the site here, probably before the video comes up, so it's just a coincidence that I have it. But they did launch a carbon version of it, and looks really good. A little bit lighter, I think, in hand. But same design overall, just same but different. They probably just took a big slice of carbon fiber and ran it through the same mill to get the same effect. I find the carbon itself, just because remember, carbon is a number of strands put together with epoxy, it tends to show the layering on the milling work just a little bit finer. But for all, you know, lack of better words, you get the same profile, same knife, just a bit lighter in design with those zirconia inlays. Same tie back spacer, all that stuff, but darkened. Looks really, really well done as well. Just significantly lighter in hand. I do notice that. And I'll flip this around as well to show the other side, just for those who are interested. The clip on these remind me a lot of a 111 from Shirogorov, just in their design with those lines and the big tip on them. But overall, really cool pair of knives. Carbon, and maybe I'll just show, let's move that to the side. I'll show the carbon one. Just I'll probably do a video on this carbon one here following this at the same time, just because you know, people do want to see both. Just for reference, if you're looking at both right now, and like I said, I assume they're going to do a full dress, their clip, etc. Really cool knife, definitely lighter, same profile, pocket wise. Just overall great knife. I don't know if there's less of these. Maybe you can check the number on this. 126, M398, yeah. Very nice. More of a dull close as well, because it is carbon material, so it just tends to be a little more dull on the closing sounds, a little more muted versus click. Very nice. Well, I've done the weight. I've gone through the knife. Oh, I didn't even mention this. The CKF logo looks sick AF on the corner here, on the heel. I think that looks really good. That would make a great photo for IG, just seeing the zirconia, which now that I'm looking at it, is actually raised quite a bit in hand. That's an interesting profile on that Zirc. See how both sides are raised up? So I think that they're kind of giving you limits to where your hand wants to be with that design. That's cool. I didn't even notice that. I thought it was kind of just inlaid. Certainly raised. How is that in hand? Yeah, your hand kind of just stops right behind it. Interesting. Very cool. Well, I've given you the weight on it. I've talked about it. Materials, M398, tie, zirconia, etc. Full flipper. Blade stock wise, it's probably in the 3 to 3.5 mil range. Very thin overall. Great execution, lots of milling work. Lots of little design elements on these, and just Connigan designs in general. You know, like you look at the clip, the additional material around it, like these are the kinds of knives you can sit with for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you'll find things on them that you don't find on other knives. There's a lot of really good design language here, and a lot of little Easter eggs throughout that I'm not going to find them all in 20 minutes. And sometimes knives that I've had for multiple years, I still find things on. So I'm not a good standard of talking about things to find on a knife, but what I am saying is that these knives certainly give you those opportunities to find really cool little details, little things on that you wouldn't necessarily see at the first glance. And Alexei Konigan is just a bit of a quirky design element kind of guy. Loves asymmetry, loves little Easter eggs. And I bet you open this thing up, there's tons of them in here. Little things that you just go, that's so cool. Things like looking at the backspacer, how you can tell it goes down beyond this hardware at the top. Like just weird things like that where you go, oh, that's so cool. It's so cool. And this lock bar, I'm still trying to figure out how this kind of works. How it's a two-piece lock bar. I don't know how it's attached in the back there. I would love to open this thing up and see how it's all done. But I won't, obviously. But really cool knife. And I also wanted to point out, it's interesting how we go offset hardware on those flatheads, but on the lock bar, we've got a centered bit. You know, why don't we match that? If you're going to do it, match it up. That's part of the fun, is it not? But who am I? That's just cool. I may have missed some pretty big details, and I apologize. This knife's super smooth, really cool, really quirky. I brought a ton of the Thai ones in, a couple of the carbon ones in. I think these are going to be really popular. I really do think that's just a really cool knife, and for that $550 US, I think table on them, I just can't see how they don't fly off the shelves, because the UMMU 1 was really wildly popular as well, and this design is just simply better, honestly. So, and look at that, the beveling of that corner right there. There's little things, they're all matched up and aligned. There's so much of that on this knife. Really good design. Okay guys, well I'm going to leave you at that. I'm probably over 20 minutes and I apologize. I tried to be 15, but sometimes you get some cool ones in that you just can't keep your hands off of, and you want to keep flicking and checking out, and this is certainly one of them. I can spend a lot of time on this. Check out BladeZilla.ca, the website. If you have any questions, shoot me a note. Ask me the questions if you have them. Otherwise, I guess YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all BladeZilla, and Facebook as well. And then just visit the site. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM in any of those places, and I'd love to get in touch with you guys. So have yourself a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. All right? Peace, guys.